Oh shit!
There
Back together, back together. What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning into another episode of Introverts Extroverting. I am the homoerotic Joseph P. Hutchinson here with.
I forgot my nickname, but Scary Teller.
And your boy Aldez.
All right, and we are chopping it up today about probably the biggest surprise. It shouldn't be that big of a surprise, but one of the best movies to come out in the decade, let alone the millennium. Ghostbusters motherfucking Afterlife.
Amen.
Woo-hoo.
Fantastic fucking film. Like this is how studios apologize to people for putting out shit. Like this is an apology for that fucking travesty of a Ghostbusters movie they tried to give us. Like this shit. There is. I can't say there. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the movie. There's one thing that they missed, and I understand why they couldn't pull it off because of what he's now doing with his life and what he stepped away from. But no, Rick Moranis.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Like, we'll go back over the other characters in the plot, but when she called that number and it rang in the bookstore, I was hoping beyond hope that it was not going to ring in the bookstore, that it was going to ring in an office. And the person that answered the phone, and I'm getting fucking goosebumps just saying this, and the person to answer the phone was Rick Moranis' character. And then he was the one that rallied them all together.
Yeah.
That would have been dope.
That is the only thing that would have made this movie better. That's it.
And possibly a little conversation of like a little, maybe not even a 90-second scene of them getting the calls to come together as well.
Yes. Like, I wanted to see what Winston was up to, like talking about how he's like some like Bitcoin type dude now, financial manager. You could have taken fucking 2 minutes of establishing shot footage time and like sped up the credits at the end a little bit, or even tacked on a couple minutes at the end of blank credit time and factor that all in. Or just having like a scene where I know people are going to be hating, saying, "Oh, well, just be grateful with what we have." Oh my God, no! this is our headcanon. Kiss my fucking ball sack. But like, to have them convince like Bill Murray that would have been like the best. Like, he was like the last holdout to like kind of show a little in-world meta about the beef between Harold Ramis and Bill Murray before he died.
Yeah.
Because that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Very true.
But no, this movie was a fucking work of art. Like, I love how they switched up the traditionalness of the gender roles, with the bimbo being the kid from fucking Stranger Things, and the granddaughter being the brain, but still not a punk.
Yeah.
Like, when she picked up that fucking proton thrower at the fucking sheriff, I was like, woo, it's baby Egon.
Yep.
Yeah, she totally gave off Egon like vibes. And
yes.
Perfect fit for this role, honestly.
It took me probably 30 minutes into the movie to realize who she was that I had seen before, because she's grown up so much and she had a different hairstyle. I know we talked about it offline a little bit, but Mckenna Grace was the little blonde-headed girl in Fuller House.
Yep.
The little love interest of the middle child of DJ Tanner's character. And so, and I realized it was her. I was like, oh, holy crap, that's the same kid. My God, she's come a long way. Like, her range from then till now is phenomenal. And she's also the one singing the songs for the movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, I was shooketh. I was totally shook.
Yeah, when you said that, we were talking about in the chat, dude, that was just like, whoa, like it's impressive. It's like seriously impressive. Like I can't help but have my brain worry a little bit about like that she's got good people around her.
Yeah, she
You
seems
know,
like she's like so far so good. You know, hopefully it's not the stereotypical, child actors, tragedy that a lot of Disney kids go through. And
yeah, exactly.
seems like so far so good with her. And somebody else I'll probably talk about later on is I forget the girl's name. The kid from the girl from True Grit, the girl from Bumblebee, and Hawkeye. I forget her real name.
Yeah.
I forget her real name. Hallie something.
I'm looking right now.
But she seems to be faring very well, transitioning from child actor into more adult, still doing good things and not hearing any bad press about her. So I'm loving that type of thing right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what these kids got to really do. Haley Stenfield.
Yeah, I was like, I knew it was Hallie something.
Hallie might be Hallie Stenfield, but yeah. Like they're learning. Like if you want to be a dumbass, keep that shit at home. Like
exactly. And there's a lot more at stake now because everybody's life. Quick tangent. I'm sorry. There's a lot more at stake now because everybody's life is socially available because of social media. So I'm not even thinking from the standpoint of like stupid cancel culture, but just the what is it? Death by popular opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So a lot of people have to be careful what they do because of those things. And, not necessarily, like I said, fearing of being canceled, but just, having the overwhelming majority think that you're a douchebag. So I think that helps in a sense than it was back in the day because you couldn't post about the shit that the Disney kids were doing because there was no social media.
True.
So that you couldn't, you had to wait till TMZ or the paparazzi or stuff like that mention their exploits, but now their exploits are recorded and people's recording everything because of handheld phones. So, there's pros and cons to that, but some of these kids are learning early on, don't do dumb shit.
Mm-hmm. Establish and stick with your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one thing I respect about 50. People give 50 Cent a lot of shit, but that's his brand, and that's why he hasn't been canceled. His brand is he's a dick. Like that's just who he is. Myself, I've had people come at me, dude. I'll send the fucking link to the video, but I've got a fucking video where this chick's still following it, calling me a racist.
It happens.
Like
Yeah.
me. That's one step away from calling you a racist, Alan.
Because all they see is the exterior appearance, if at all.
Yeah, they don't even see the exterior appearance. They hear an opinion that differs from the fucking narrative that praises somebody for their accomplishments based on what they've done. Like every single actor in this damn movie carries their own motherfucking water, and that should be praised instead of, oh, well, we have a young woman playing Egon's daughter and it's a single mom doing her thing. We should celebrate that. No, we should not.
Like nobody's thinking about that because it has nothing to do with the
story,
the overall scope of the story. The only thing that you could probably bring into that whole narrative is the fact that she's got abandonment issues and she's pissed off because she thinks her dad left her all these years for some bullshit. But that has nothing to do with single mom. You know what I'm saying?
No, so, absolutely not.
Her abandonment issues are just her abandonment issues, and that is evident that she's dealing with that. But her having the kids by herself, that's you could think about the deeper stuff. Well, you got to portray single parenthood. I was like, well, maybe it should have been a boy, a man. He's a single dad or whatever. It's like that's the way they wrote it. I didn't even think about that honestly. It didn't even bother me just because
it's not there.
Because there's so many single parents out there, men and women alike, doing the things that they know they need to do and not complaining about
Yeah, like with the whole subplot with her and the they're having to take over the house, the easing into the MacGuffin, like that right there is, you could like I'm just gonna say it like this. Besides the main Ghostbusters, you can race swap, gender swap, anything swap, every single actor in this movie, and it would work phenomenally as long as that actor was at the same level.
Yeah.
Right.
At least just for me, because it's not based around gender, sex, whatever term the kids are using nowadays to describe their naughty bits.
Yeah, pronouns.
But,
I'm like,
yeah, it's not about that. Each part doesn't matter to the overall whole, because each character is there to be filled. They weren't written specifically for somebody. It was archetypes done right. And of course, it was done right. It was done by a fucking right man.
And we've talked about this off air before. The whole thing about representation. You got people being represented in this movie without it being blatantly just there. It fits the movie. It fits the town. It fits. And
nobody's trying to be like the podcast. You don't see his atypical Asian, Latin, whatever fuck, because you don't even know what the fuck he is. Like he's just like this. He's a hodgepodge.
He's the little boy from Up, grown up.
Basically, yeah. And even him,
that's what I told my wife.
You're right. You 100% right there. He is.
He's a little older. He lost a
baby. Looking ass. And it's like he's you don't see they could have easily fucked up the narrative and thrown in like a minute or two where he meets his family, but it's not important, and it would have ruined the movie because it's unneeded detail.
Right.
It's got the depth that it's like it just it's like when you go to a fucking a buffet and they have all fresh food out, and you can take exactly like the corner piece of the macaroni if you want that, like the hard crusty edge. You can get the middle of it. You can get whatever piece of ham you want off the bone. Like this movie just rocks.
It gives you a buffet of everything that is needed, not only as a standalone movie, but as a sequel to a really well done movie. I won't say really well done movie because we grew up with it. It's a classic.
Yeah.
If we look at it in terms of a movie, like if we tried to like review it in Siskel and Ebert, it's not that great of a movie in terms of movies, but it's a
Ghostbusters 2 now.
Yeah, and it's a fun movie. It's part of pop culture. It's a phenom in itself, and it created a whole gamut of things afterwards. So this movie taking place, 30 some odd years later, because of everything, it was really well done as a movie, on its own, and as a sequel. Excuse me. So I mean, you can literally go and watch the first one, come and watch this one. Other than the way the film looks from it being dated and like the film quality, you're really just having a time jump because it fits so seamlessly.
Right.
And I won't say the only other time, but one of the main things that come to mind in thinking of a movie like that was the first Incredibles and then Incredibles 2. It literally picks up immediately after the first movie.
Yeah.
And it's a seamless switch. There's no time jump, but both movies have a seamless shift from what happened before to what's happening now. And it feels like you just watched it, like you just watched the first one. And I like when movies do that. So to me, it has all the elements that I love for a movie to be great. I laughed. I got yoked up a little bit. I didn't cry. Almost did.
Oh, I cried.
I did, yeah.
And I smiled. I said, oh, that was cool. There was a few moments of, oh my God, why did you do that? That was really dumb. If a movie doesn't have that in there, then, I was like, I need to be mad at you for a moment in the movie, for me to like it. So, yeah. And it had all those elements. And like I said, I'm sitting here with it in the background looking at it right now. And they just let the damn Ghost out of the damn trap, which is why we have a movie to begin with. You know, kids being kids and doing stupid stuff. Even though a grown-up was at the helm of it this time, Paul Rudd's character helped them release his movie.
It's a kid. He's a child.
A big child, exactly.
He's a big man child.
Dude, is it like Paul Rudd's character and the mom, bro? Oh my, like that dynamic was fucking good.
I loved
Like
it.
I don't know if it's just me, but it's like they did not, they tried their hardest not to reproduce Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis' character.
I didn't even think about them, honestly, to be honest.
Yeah, same here.
It felt like they were two adults that were transported back in high school that had a crush on each other and were trying to figure out how to talk to one another and be awkward all over again. That's what it felt like.
Yep.
There's no dying on the podcast, though.
Somebody giggle bush was needed. You know, I felt the exact same way, and that was one of the things I'm glad they didn't put in here, was having this be like Egon's hometown type of thing, instead of just, you know, him actually hunting the place down and all that. Like, and I'm watching it myself in the background, and it's the part where she brings the trap into the science class, and he's holding this fucking trap. A ghost comes out, goes back in, and the kids in the background don't give a fuck.
Right.
You're a little bit behind me, because I have it in the background. You're a little bit behind me.
Yeah.
And, the son just got Ecto-1 to work, so he's plowing through the freaking fields right now in the car.
I like that too. I like that he, like, there's so, like, I know on this podcast we got a history of shitting on things. However, this time you're not going to find that, because dude, that part right there was just like, okay, now you're actually showing the proper archetype of the quote unquote bimbo in these movies, where they're good for nothing except for a few things. Like, unfortunately, there are people like this in the real world, where it's like you can't do much, but when it comes to turning a wrench, you're a motherfucking rock star. Like, this kid, he's not that bright. He's a bit of a man whore. You know, he's the pretty bitch.
And he's the one that the heart is in the right place. But
yeah,
you know, he's also socially awkward too. I thought they did that pretty well. Socially awkward, heart in the right place, kind of oblivious to stuff. Older sibling. It could have totally worked with it being an older sister sibling, and like I said, having, you know, the granddaughter be a grandson, but it works either way.
Right.
Yeah, because he's the basic bitch.
Still get the character dynamic.
Yeah, he's the basic bitch bimbo archetype, and it works well. And it's like that. And I have to. I'm going to take back what I said earlier. You couldn't just place anybody in these roles. You'd have to have people of equal caliber to pull off in a good way these basic of archetypes.
Well, the chemistry. The chemistry is crucial between the actors, and you can see it here in the final product. Whether they hate each other off set, they pulled it off in the final film. Like, everybody's chemistry is like awesome. Watching.
They're professional as a motherfucker. Like this just. Like I was. This is one thing I did bring up off the air, was the chess scene where she's playing against her granddad and not being afraid.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her facial features again. And when the first fucking, like, she first looks over and you see the two pawns, if you look at her face, she scowls. Like, not in like an angry way, but in like, I don't understand this, I have to figure this out type of way. And it's
right.
Like,
the micro expression like was there. You can see she was like, huh. All right.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you did explain. It's like one of those you could go watch back and answer the questions that, like, you've already formed with it, because it's all here.
Yeah.
Even in
her already. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, like, even the establishing shots, like the part I'm at right now, where they're going back to the farm after they unleash the dog, like it fits all their characters. Yeah, we could have removed that for the Rick Moranis shit, like spare a couple seconds here and there, but it's just damn.
Yeah, it is. And like when we were talking about it off air, like her character, she's already brilliant at a young age, so it's not, you know, atypical for her to be startled by something that she thinks she can explain away with science, even if it is paranormal type activity. So I like that she wasn't startled. I like that she was curious, and because it fits the whole genes of her lineage. Like, she's got her grandpa in her. It skips her mom straight to her, and you know, she's got that itch, and so she pursued it with a rational brain, and I like that for her being so young to be able to do that and come away with it. Like, I'm not freaked out. This is actually pretty badass. We're in this little town. I want to figure out what's going on. And yeah, the chess pieces are moving. Okay, cool. Let's get it.
Why are they moving? Have I just discovered levitation?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, this is just fantastically done. Like, in my opinion, it is now up there with the best trilogies ever created. Like, for me, it's you got the modern Planet of the Apes, Back to the Future, the original Star Wars, and now Ghostbusters.
And don't you dare not put Indiana Jones in there, sir.
Yeah, Temple of Doom, kind of.
And see,
if I didn't know the backstories behind Temple of Doom, I would like it more.
When you say backstory, you're talking about production or
yeah.
Oh, and see, sometimes, you know, being oblivious kind of helps with things, because I don't want to make this dark, but you know how apparently there's the little black book with all of Epstein's clients and everything in there. And if we were to see who was all on it, you probably wouldn't watch, listen, read, or anything ever again, because somebody that you admire, or several people that you admire, are on this thing, and you're like, well, shit, I know. Or I can't listen to that anymore. And you know, and you try to separate the person from their job, and it's kind of hard to do. On case in point, R. Kelly. Like, I have a hard time listening to R. Kelly. Actually, even before the verdicts, because we all knew he was dirty 20, 30 years ago. And so, you know, there are some things that I'm glad I don't know about, because if I find out, I'm like, it makes it hard to enjoy this right now. But if it happens, it happens, and I learn, and you know, I hop out of the matrix and learn it, then so be it. I'll deal with it. But until then, I'm going to enjoy my shit. And
no, I feel you.
And just be there. So, like, I love Indiana Jones trilogy. We don't talk about Crystal Skull. And it was, I think my favorite one actually is probably Temple of Doom, but I really like the whole ideology of The Last Crusade. Like, that whole plot line really, really intrigued me as a kid, and having Sean Connery and Harrison Ford in the movie together was a treat.
Yeah, like, that was brilliant.
And having River Phoenix in the beginning, you know, R.I.P. to him. And you know, that movie has a special place in my heart, because I think I went to the theater and saw it with my dad. If not, we watched it at home on HBO, but I think we were in the theater. So that one has a special place to me. So I probably enjoy it from a personal standpoint more than Temple of Doom, but Temple of Doom is more fun to me, just because of the roller coaster.
Oh, the rail car scene was the shit.
Oh, I love that.
The bridge scene, you know, Andy, you know, and you know, that whole thing. So I like that, and I love the Indian culture as well. So it had all that stuff. I like movies that take place outside. So if something's happening outside, I'm that much more into the movie and love it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the behind the scenes shit I heard is why I kind of like leaves a little sour taste in my mouth. But overall, it's a fantastic film. Like the different like Indian mythologies and monsters and shit like that, and that shit's like, man, That's up there with fucking Africa and the land of nope.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll go
And,
fuck up Dracula and the Wolfman before I go down to the fucking quote unquote dark continent. Shit, that place took on a new meaning of dark continent after I read some books.
Yeah, and I would love to see. I was thinking about this the other day. We can hop into that when we talk more about our comic stuff. But I would love to see more superhero lore, legends, folklores from the various different cultures. And I know that there's an illustration of the various heroes that are out there. You know, the Native American ones, the Asian ones, Saudi Arabian ones, all these things. They have it out there. And I spent a long time looking at it. I'll have to send it to you guys when I find it again. But I would love to see some of these stories animated or on the big screen.
Oh, dude, like the fables and shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So all that looks cool to me.
Like I honestly, I know it's totally off the topic, but I'm utterly convinced that some way, shape, or form, the African peoples met up with the Asians, like the not like the Indian folk, but like the Oriental Asians, just to discern the difference.
Yeah.
Just because the amount of human-headed creatures that they have, where it's like either they're completely hot and like sexually alluring succubus, incubus type of bodies with a fucked up head, or it's the opposite way around, where it's like a beautiful face and then just like a monstrous body.
There we go.
All right, so yep, there we are. We can cut out this whatever and bring it back. So I'm watching this other, like the podcast kid with the goggles on, and that brought up the only other thing that I kind of wish they would have included was when they had the fucking race trap, the remote control one.
Yeah.
Like you could see the point of view of the car. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
Like I could
agree.
see why they took it out, obviously for budget reasons, because that type of shit would be expensive. But like it just would have added to it and made it look so neat.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I could see that. That'd be cool.
That would have been really cool. Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm just looking at like possible little like things now. Not trying
Little
to
nuances.
not trying to nitpick shit apart, but like just look at it, and it's just like, damn.
So you just made me think of something too, because I was a very religious watcher of the real Ghostbusters cartoon and the Filmation one with the ape, based off of the 70s live action TV show Ghostbusters. And on the real Ghostbusters, they showed what it looked like in the containment unit. So
Yes.
And I forget which Ghostbuster had to go in there, and they were floating through, and they had to find something and bring it out, and it was really creepy. But I would have liked to have seen like maybe a quick 5-second look of what it was like in the trap for the metal munching ghost.
Yeah. See, that actually left, like, that brought up a really good fucking point with the end of the movie, and like they captured Gozer.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now what?
So it's like I want to see the inside of the containment unit.
Right?
And, they couldn't do it in the original movie because they had that dipshit come in and trying to shut everything down. He's always an asshole in his movies too, by the way. I forget that actor.
Mm-hmm.
But
Walter Peck.
thank you. Yes. And you're trying to shut down something that you understand nothing about because you're trying to just show how big your dick is. And
from the EPA of all places.
And then you have this cataclysmic event where you let out all the fucking ghosts that they capture, and it just becomes like, whoa, shit. So it would have been cool to see the inside of it on that movie, but again, special effects back then, not gonna happen.
Oh yeah, no.
So now that we're a lot older and more mature in our capabilities, I want to see some shit like that. I could totally do that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an easy way. No, because Harold goes up to heaven when he dies. He fades away. When he fades away, we don't know where he goes. But I mean, God, because I don't want them to do more movies because this one ends so well. Like, it wraps everything up, and it's like
Well, I think if they were to go forward, it would be the new kids starting their own team of Ghostbusters. So I don't know if they would need to harken back so much to the old ones, because I think their characters were so well developed in this movie that I think that they can stand out on their own.
I agree with that, but you would, just for the nostalgia's sake, need to have an anchor with the three remaining Ghostbusters, having their presence be made or acknowledged in the movie, or they make a call or something's like, hey, we need help. Like, what do we do in this situation? Kind of like the phone call initially to Dan Aykroyd.
Right, and that's what I was gonna say. Make Dan Aykroyd, like when they call to need help about, say they call him to ask Ray what to do, because Lord knows how much it took to get Bill Murray to do one of these.
Yeah,
right? And then you could even have Winston's character kind of bankroll some of it.
Yes,
seeing how successful he is, and that for the people that go looking and dredging up shit, that could put a person of color in good light, that they're financing something awesome instead of making them look, in the opposite light of what they normally do. So you cover two birds with one stone. You got a wealthy Black man bankrolling some poor paranormal shit, and how contradictory is that? Most Black people, myself included, we don't fuck with ghosts. We're like, nope, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So
that's when I was younger. I didn't understand it, but now that when I got older, I understood how big of a deal it was having Winston on the Ghostbusters. Like, oh,
yeah.
Like,
there's a history of supernatural shit kind of being taboo to us culturally.
Yeah, for good fucking reason.
So, we don't fuck with Ouija boards and all that other stuff. Nope, no thank you. Which is partially why I joke and we laugh out there about me being such a bitch when it comes to scary movies.
And you got my ass that makes them for fun and for money. Like,
right. So I'm totally out of my comfort zone, but I love you guys. So
it's evil, but it's evil we just direct in certain areas. But no, like the whole I get why a lot of Black folk don't fuck with like this actual supernatural stuff. I know a lot of people that be going to like movies and shit, but like actual Ouija boards and haunted houses and shit. Like my guy Jeff, he's a rare one. Like he's all about that shit. Like when I'm going to like get blood or I need a certain part for a ritual or something, he's like, I'll go. Like, oh, you sick motherfucker. and he from like Alabama area. So I got a feeling that man came. My
family's from Alabama, yo. So
like he country Alabama.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I got roots in the country. So
he's a couple shades away from being a straight up like old fashioned redneck. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got a little hoodoo or voodoo up in his blood.
Yeah, and don't get me started talking about Eve's Bayou and like the history around stuff like that. Like, I don't touch that. But I think reining us back in, I really think that would be cool moving forward. And Phil said, just to have those quick tiebacks to the original characters, or even if it's just Winston and Ray, and Ray is Dan Aykroyd's character, right? Ray?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I keep mixing up their faces on the cartoon versus the real movie because they look nothing like each other.
No, they really don't.
And so just having Winston and Ray just kind of callbacks if they want to keep going on with this franchising and having the kids kind of take up the mantle and get serious about it. And in a couple of years' time, Phoebe's character will be definitely a little bit older, and they can dress her to be a little bit older so that she's more mature, and they can say that they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? And have it go that way so that it's not completely like, because this is their origin story of the kids version. So you can kind of pull like a Captain America and First Avenger and then Winter Soldier. Everything just hits the ground running, and they're just going full blown at it. He's been doing it for a bit, and he understands what needs to be done. So the kids could already kind of have their way and kind of be these kind of teenage Ghostbusters, and just do it in the town, and then if they want to get a third movie out of this one, they could make it go a little further, like expand the borders a little bit more, and get like Ghostbusters Incorporated and shit like that. Who knows? But
what I think would be cool is if they were to make a sequel to this, and they're a little more grown up, if they revisit and try to do something with Vigo.
That would be
Dude,
cool.
yes. Vigo and Gozer team up.
Right, because they got a new fan base now. They pulled all the new fan base into this because of the actors that they got for the movie. They can revitalize Vigo.
Oh, dude.
So check this out. So, this movie is a direct sequel to the first one, and then the sequel to this one could be a segue sequel into the second movie.
Exactly.
So it's a sequel to a sequel.
Yes.
So that could be cool. They could totally do it that way.
Well, did you guys ever play or see the gameplay for the Ghostbusters game?
Yes.
Oh, the one that came out a few years back?
Yeah, 2009. Yeah. That's actually unofficially Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
I saw gameplay, but I never played it. There was a lot of hype around it.
All right.
Oh,
There
dude,
is
so-
a YouTuber, I can't remember their name, I think Sky Bree or something like that. He edited together all the cutscenes and made a movie out of it.
Oh, shit.
And you could watch it, and it's essentially Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because like from what I was reading, with that was supposed to be like the last hurrah of them, because they're all like, oh, we're getting old, don't want to do this anymore. Dude, it's a game worth falling into. I will say that.
I mean, they
It is
even brought
phenomenal.
Walter Peck in, and the same guy who voiced him voiced the cartoon of it. It's like,
Yeah. They did a phenomenal job on that. Like the only thing, like thinking about this shit and doing more with this cast, because McKenna's 15, and she would have to be the main focus of it. And like, okay, you can do the homeschooling with the Winston money to pay for the tutors to get her on the path to being a Ghostbuster, and like actually establish it how they wanted to in the first movie.
Right.
You could bring in Peter to take care of the permits and getting her all the equipment and shit she would need and the access. Winston has got the money, and Dan would be the fucking Bosley.
So I was thinking of it this way, friggin' Winston is Bruce Wayne bankrolling it, and Ray is essentially Lucius Fox, getting all the
Yeah, I actually I could see fucking Winston employing Peter as like the spokesperson type of thing, where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like they love and respect him too much to let him fucking be homeless and shit, but Peter's too much of a dick to like not stop being Peter.
Yeah.
So it's like they're still in their 70s, but Winston's still running the shit.
Yeah. And can we talk about how good freaking Ernie Hudson looks?
Yes.
Yes. Dude, I've been a fan of Ernie Hudson since Ghostbusters. Like that thing. Oh yeah, dude. Dude, the reason I watched the show Oz was because of Ernie Hudson.
See, my dad loved Oz, and it was a little bit much for me. I couldn't get into it. I probably get now that I'm older, but back then I was like, I want to watch this shit.
Oh, dude, I loved it.
It was a little too gangster.
I loved it.
But I think
I agreed.
Yeah, the first thing that I think I ever saw Ernie Hudson in after Ghostbusters was freaking The Crow with Brandon Lee.
Yep.
And that was such a big deal to me for two reasons. I loved Ernie Hudson's character in Ghostbusters 1 and 2 so much. And then the legacy of Bruce Lee. What kid in our age demographic didn't freaking love Bruce Lee and his legacy and his family? So to see his son acting, so having those two things come together, like those two pieces of my childhood, I was like, oh, that's dope. I love The Crow for various reasons. Brandon Lee, you got Ernie Hudson, you got supernatural paranormal forces. This is great. He's back in the fold with paranormal stuff because he was in Ghostbusters. So I was like, this is dope. And then he was in the spinoff show LA's Finest from Bad Boys with Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union. And surprisingly, that show was not terrible. And
No, it wasn't.
I
No.
would have loved the third season, but yeah, they kind of screwed us. They kind of screwed us on that one. So I really enjoyed it. I would have loved to have like a callback kind of call scene like we're talking about with this, where it was either Martin's character or Will's character on the phone somewhere, and it's like, you said, you doing what? I'm gonna tell mom. I'm gonna tell mom. You know.
Yes. And speaking of Ernie Hudson, I was just thinking about this. We need a spin-off of Congo.
Dude, when we were talking about the other continent superheroes and lore, I was totally thinking about Congo. I was totally thinking about
dude, like honestly, if there's any, I know he's getting up there because what is he right now? He's 76 years old. If we'd have had the money, if like he would be like in his 40s or 50s, I would say make him not Quigley Down Under, Alan Quartermain.
Dude, I love Alan Quartermain.
Dude, those are some like the movies from the 80s were so cheesily bad, and the books and the comics are just so amazing. And with Ernie Hudson's fucking range, like in The Crow, I cried because of him.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Like, dude, just that right before the coldness that he has to carry himself with all that pain and emotion inside of him was just like, fuck. Like,
yeah, that movie is that movie is you know, people say it's not a great movie kind of thing, but the people that love it and that have made it a cult classic, that following, it's a pretty deep ass movie, man. It's a painful movie. It's
a comic book.
The movie is like I said, based on the comic book, but the movie is about pain, and it's about pain personified almost. And everybody in that movie was hurting in some form or fashion. And it, you know, like you said, Ernie's range in that movie was like, wow, just to see what he dealt with. And when Eric, Brandon Lee's character was like, you stayed with her the whole time, and he had to relive that through Ernie Hudson's eyes. I was like, oh shit, that fucking sucks. Like,
and knowing that he stood there like a fucking gangster holding her fucking hand, maybe shedding a tear or two, but being that rock for her that she needed to be defeat, like, dude. And I like that was one of, like, as a kid, and I'm getting a little choked up talking about, like, that was one of the times I first saw like the depth of an actor.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, I'm a fucking little 16, 17-year-old fucking dipshit. And it's like, or sorry, 14-year-old.
You don't pay attention to that stuff. You know, you're not paying attention. You're just watching it because it's cool.
Yeah. And it's like you get older and look back on it, especially after reading and owning the book. And it's like, damn, he did a better job as that character than the fucking person who wrote the comic book with the origin story did portraying that character.
Yeah.
Just beautifully done.
Like everything just is hurtful. You know, like physically, emotionally, psychologically, it's hurtful. And I think there's a lot to be said in that, in what that can do to someone's soul. I might have to go watch that again now. I'll watch that shit later this week. But yeah, all the ideas you guys have would be great for continuing the franchise and what it can do and what it should do. But we'll never know. It's in their hands now. But I think it definitely made enough money to warrant those things.
I know it was highly bootlegged, but people were doing it how bootlegging used to be. You bootleg it to see if you like it, then you go to the movies and pay for it. And the motherfuckers have been, this thing has been making money, legitimately making money. And it's like, I
had a problem buying it. Like I had no issue buying it on Amazon when my buddy told me it was available. Because it's like I haven't gone to the theater except once, and that was when Spider-Man came out. But during this whole pandemic, I don't think I went to the theater at all until Spider-Man came out. I was like, I can't sit for 3 months and get off all of my social media when I contact my friends for various things and not be able to miss a spoiler about the damn movie. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to take one and go. You best believe I was basically a man in a bubble at the theater, but you know, I would have gone to see this movie in the theater like several times. It was that good. It was.
Yeah.
It was. You know, I went and saw Ragnarok 6 times in the theater. I saw Winter Soldier 3 or 4 times in the theater. You know, I support those movies when they're good. I support them. And, you know, that's what they get made for you to go do that. So I'm definitely happy with the outcome of this movie, and I just hope that it continues to make more money and greenlight the next iteration in it. And wasn't there, so when they came out with all females Ghostbuster, wasn't the thing was supposed to create like a multiverse of Ghostbusters worlds where they all kind of combine, because a lot of things are going on multiverse theory now? Wasn't that something? Was there any validity to it?
I heard about some bullshit like that, like in one of those gossip rags, but I doubt they had the foresight then.
Because I mean, as cheesy as the movie was, it was fun to watch. They could have done a lot more with it, because I actually went and watched all the Ghostbusters movies in order. After I got this one, after I purchased Afterlife, I was like, let me go back and watch all of these. And you know, I was doing it while I was working, you know, in between calls and videos that I had to watch for training and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I watched the unedited version or the extended version of the female Ghostbusters one, and it was definitely corny, but the extended version, I see what they were trying to do, but they kind of tried too hard. But the movie was fun for what it was, but it needed to be executed a little bit better. And I was like, I didn't have a problem with them trying to make an all-female one. They just could have executed it a lot better, in my opinion. It had its fun moments, and them not taking themselves too serious. I liked that.
Right.
But the first one, the first Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters Afterlife, they're completely different in tone. And I would say that Ghostbusters 2 and the all-female cast Ghostbusters are kind of in the same vein, where it's serious. Well, it's funny with serious elements, and then this one, Afterlife, and the first Ghostbusters is serious with fun moments.
I'm gonna have to permanently fire you from the podcast for even considering that piece of shit is in the same universe, multiverse as these 3 pieces of fucking platinum. Like, it has nothing to do with all female cast, who was what. That movie was a hot piece of shit. There was
a lot better with it. Like I said, I had fun watching it for what it was, but it didn't need to be called Ghostbusters. Right. If it was gonna, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that dude, like, as someone that loves like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Undercover Brother, Tropic Thunder, like the straight up in your face, we're not going for an Oscar winning picture. We're going to make a B movie. Our goal is to make shit, because we have no money. This shit's funny as hell. No one's going to want to finance it, but let's do it.
And then it ends up becoming a pop culture phenom.
And then we have Ghostbusters reboot.
Yeah.
That was the definition of I'm trying way too hard and being stereotypical, but not in a funny way. Like Leslie Jones' character, like, why don't you just throw an Aunt Jemima dress on her and give her some big old red lipstick?
Yeah, it was overly done. Like I said, the execution was terrible, but there were about the movie that I thought were fun. And had they done it better, and if they, like you said, they don't think they had the foresight to really make all these connected, they could have really made a really well franchise with that.
They could have. Like, that is one thing that this movie honored, that if you're going to do a franchise with Ghostbusters or anything previously established, you have to link it to what was already there.
And I think the all-female cast came at the wrong time, because it was during all this Me Too stuff, so they were trying to capitalize on it. This is just my personal. They failed. And in doing so, they were trying to get momentum with that. Now, had this movie came out maybe like a year or 2 ago, with the right push behind it, and not for in your faceness, then I think it would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
But it was at the height of all that stuff where we're just going to make this all all female empowerment. And again, nothing wrong with that. Look what happened with the Tomb Raider movie. The Tomb Raider movie, it had its moments, but to me, it was a flop.
Yeah. Oh, the new one that they came out with, not the Angelina Jolie ones.
The new one within like the last 3 or 4 years, yeah. And
Yeah.
I didn't dislike the chick that played her, but it was just like, really? It was like, okay, they could have really, really done well with that as a new franchise kickoff, also. But I think people were trying to jump on that bandwagon, and again, there's legitimacy in what was going on. Don't get me wrong, but I think people were trying to capitalize on all of that momentum, and we're just putting out shit. It's like, we're just going to put it. There's women involved. We're going to watch it because it's woman time, and that's the wrong time to do that kind of thing. They do that whenever there's like a social injustice happening. Look at what's going on with George Floyd. Look what happened when all the hate against Asians and stuff because of COVID and everything. Like, people were trying to capitalize on the stuff in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so I said, there were pieces of that Ghostbusters female cast that I enjoyed because I thought it was fun, but the execution and the timing of it was piss poor.
It was a slap in the face. And I am shocked that everybody, like, I know, looking at Bill Murray, that was probably the only take he did for that.
Probably, and same with Ernie Hudson. That was probably his,
Like, you're paying, like, I guarantee that I'm sure we can find some way to get our hands on the contracts, but I guarantee there was limited takes involved, and that fucking cost to get them on set was ridiculous.
Yeah.
As it should be, because it was blasphemous. Like, the one thing with Ghostbusters that works for me in the whole, okay, they're walking around with portable nuclear reactors, and they emphasize in this one is, how'd you figure this out? I have a wall of diplomas.
Yeah.
And if you're watching the first Ghostbusters, Egon's always working on something technological and moving shit forward. He's never not Elon Musking. Like, he's always pushing and pushing and pushing. And so that type of nerdy, introvert, autistic genius is established. And the Ghostbusters reboot, it's just, I'm a smart woman tinker, and I figured this out because I work in a lab.
Yeah. When you think about it in that scheme, it doesn't fit the whole scope of it. But in this one, Phoebe, it makes sense.
Because she's extremely talented, she's extremely brilliant, but she's still a fucking kid. She's still stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
There in reboot, there was no hero's growth. There was no hero's journey, hero, heroine, whatever the fuck term people want to use. There was no journey. There was no growth. There was no reason I should bond with these besides they have a vagina. Like that's all it was. It was like, oh, I should root for these people because they have vagina hair and she's a black woman. Yay, empowerment. No.
So the only thing that you can connect to on that movie is the fact that I even forget the actress's name, but she had the encounter when she was younger, and she's trying to get her credibility back. That's the only journey in the whole movie, and that's not strong enough to go off of for an entire movie to prove that I was right and not to be the laughing.
Like, and the way they treated fucking, like, Chris Hemsworth. Okay, Annie Potts will always be my first crush ever, even before Alyssa Milano. Like, oh my God, Annie Potts is a bad bitch.
Are we talking Who's the Boss, Alyssa Milano, or Commando, Alyssa Milano?
Yes. Alyssa Milano was like, oh.
Because I think she's, a year or two older than me. I'm an 80 baby. I think she's a 78 baby, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think. And so
I think so too.
When I saw Commando, I had to use his crush on her. And then when she was in Who's the Boss, I had to use his crush on her. But that's another podcast episode right there.
Oh yeah. Like, and then Annie, but like comparing, like, because they straight up for the reboot tried to just like rip it off and flip genders.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed watching Chris Hemsworth not take himself serious because we just saw Thor and whatnot. So I like his comedic acting. So when Thor,
Oh yeah,
when Ragnarok came out, I was like, this motherfucker is hilarious. and
for
so
what he was given, he did
I'm
well.
sorry.
For
Yeah, so
what he was given, he did well.
Yeah, I appreciated that in the movie, just to see him not take himself serious. I like watching actors do that. So when you see actors that are traditionally in a role where they're just machismo, they're this and that, and then they dumb themselves down and just act a fool, I love that. Same thing with Dwayne Johnson. He did Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
When he does stuff like that, or what was the other one? No. I'm getting my big bald men black messed up.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. What was the one where he was the babysitter, but he was the ex, like CIA agent or whatever?
Oh, that was Batista.
No.
Was the pacifier?
Yes, the pacifier. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, the pacifier. So like when shit like that comes out and you're so used to seeing them in a different light, I was like, I enjoy stuff like that. But you can't bank on all of that to make a successful movie. Like I said, they missed the mark as a whole, I think, based on timing. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. I think the timing of it was terrible.
And the scripting. Like that whole thing needed a lot of work. Like,
I'm eager to see what the director's cut was, like what they wanted to have in there versus what they were made to put in there, because we all know that happens. Editing stuff, and like, this was really not the movie I wanted to make, but I get a paycheck. So yeah,
no, I get it, but still, it's just
well,
artistic integrity.
yeah. We should talk about on another episode. Another movie that I don't mention out loud is The Last Airbender, live action versus the cartoon.
Good.
And I've read some things, and I had talks and links with one of my cinephile movie guys that I know very well, who was into movie making and stuff. And he had his things to say about what Shamalama Ding Dong had versus what he was forced to put in because of hedge fund managers trying to flex their muscles and put shit in there that they wanted to because they were bankrolling it. So I want to see what the original script was versus the shite that we got.
Yeah.
Because it was like they didn't watch the series at all.
No, they didn't.
And yeah, so that was interesting. But what part are you at in the movie right now?
They are going down to the chamber.
Oh, okay. What's her face? Gozer just showed up through the cornfields, and Phoebe's got the trap.
Let's just talk about the fact that Gozer uncrossed the streams, man.
Dude.
Like, dude, this movie.
That was
so much good.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, we'll cross streams because we know that works.
We're at 8 minutes again now.
Oh,
I just
no worries. No worries. We can wrap it up in that amount of time. I just thought that just shows you how powerful they are. Or that, I'll say they, because I don't want to get kicked in the nuts for using my incorrect pronouns in 2022. So
yeah.
But yes, to uncross the streams, you know how gangster you got to be to do that shit?
And hands down, one of my favorite lines of the whole movie was when Gozer said, "Are you a god?" And everyone's like, "Really, Ray?"
Ray?
Like,
we've been through this. We've been here before.
You say yes, goddammit. Yeah. I think I cheesed and like nerdgasmed at the same time when that line was said. I was like, oh, that's dope.
Right. Like, but the one thing that got me the most with the movie that really, not even,
the whole thing with Harold at the end when he was hugged his daughter and all that stuff. The part when all of the proton packs are on Gozer and you pan back and you see all 4 of them fighting Gozer. Even, Egon as the Gozer. Like, that part was just like, oh, I teared, I must say.
Yeah.
That part was dope. Like I said, I didn't, I think I have emotional calluses built up from the shit that I've been through. I get teary-eyed every so often for some shit, but I definitely feel things when I watch movies, but I can't say that I've teared up in a while in a movie like that. But I was really looking at it like, damn,
No,
just
I cried.
that emotional damn, that's damn, and you're like, this is pretty badass, and it simultaneously takes you back to your childhood, and you see your life flash before your eyes as an adult and a kid, and the two meet somewhere in the middle, and you're transported back to how you felt back then, but you still know how you feel as an adult. If I've explained that right, I can't articulate it the way that I want to right now, but it's a mix of emotions that you really can't put into words, that feels so good and sad at the same time
Exactly.
on some of these parts. And I'm like, damn, because I guess the nostalgia piece, the nostalgia's there. You see it through different eyes now as an adult, but you're also seeing it from the eyes of a child when you watch this growing up because it was so badass to you as a kid. So it's like it's all happening at once. You're like going through all emotions at one time. You're like, oh shit, that's really there it is. Are you a god?
Yeah.
There it is.
I fast forwarded to that part.
Oh, come on, Ray.
Well, we are coming up to the last 5 minutes, so we're probably going to have to start wrapping it up.
Yeah, we are.
Absolutely.
But no, hands down, this is a motherfucking 10.
Yeah, 100% 10.
Definitely recommend this movie to any movie buff and any Ghostbusters fan, for sure.
This movie needs to be studied on how to not only write a good story, write good characters, but to write a good female lead.
Right.
And how to do sequels.
Yes. And a reboot of a franchise. Like this movie has it all.
Yeah. Wasn't there was another one that they did a really good job of as a sequel that was damn near on par, if not better than the first, and I can't think yeah, Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future 2, I think, was a better movie than Back to the Future 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like
Empire
being better than A New Hope, because it is.
Yes.
Because A New Hope, like Ghostbusters one, like Final Fantasy, Back to the Future one, it was designed as a standalone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's the ending of Back to the Future 1 where we're going, we don't need roads. I mean, that's just a classic Western we're gonna ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
It was wrapping it up.
I just sent you Back to the Future, but I'm back from the future.
We should totally do an episode on movies that had great follow-up sequels over the last 30 years.
Dude, I love that. Fucking do like the great trilogies, like go through them all.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Start making a list. Absolutely.
Checking it twice.
Oh yes.
Gonna find out if Nick is gonna be naughty or nice.
I am never nice.
I was gonna say, is nice ever an option for you?
No. I'll be kind, but I won't be nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I enjoyed this, fellas, as always. Chopping it up.
Same here.
Piece together some things for the next one. But oh man, there it is. Egon's holding Phoebe's proton pack, and Mom sees him. And I gotta pause this so I can watch it.
It's beautiful.
When we get off. Yeah, that part was dope. But yeah, fellas, thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. Thanks for being
joining.
On. You're right. You are officially one of us. So on behalf of myself, the Scary Teller, AD, thank you all very much for tuning in and listening to this episode of Introverts Extroverting. We'll check you out next time.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Peace out, guys.